So on a friend's recommendation, I ordered these, well, specifically the AI Ultrafine brush pen. And it came with, from the Amazon thing, a white paint pen. Now, right off the bat, one of the things I noticed in looking at this is a water-based ink, which means it won't dry waterproof. And so that means it will bleed up into the white. So first problem off the top. Here are the pens out of the package. They're actually quite small. And right off the bat again, there's a thing I really hate about pens is when you can't post the cap. So it comes off, and then you got to find a place to put your cap and hopefully not lose it. Now, super fine, that's nice. However, I find you can do a very nice slow stroke with it, but I like working fast with a brush. If you work fast with a brush, it's immediately grays out and leaves a very coarse line that's not very well controlled. If you were using a sable brush this fine and you were dipping, you would get better ink. I mean, this might have its uses, but it's a very gray ink. It's not as dark as my carbon pigment. So I'll find some way to use this up, but I'm not really in love with this brush. So I got to put the cap back on. Now the other thing that came with is this white paint pen. There's some more extra paint coming out. It was like you rotate the back end here, and it says 10 to 12 times to get the white paint coming out. Now, right off the bat, on the 11th turn, it just squirted out like crazy. So if you do get this, be mindful of that. But on top of that, it's not a very fluid, here, I prepared some black. It's not a very fluid white paint. It's actually quite gummy. So you can blot it and do a blot quite nicely. So you can fix like a large mistake, and it's not very opaque. But lines, they end up being very gummy. It's like the ink doesn't flow, or the paint doesn't flow. It's definitely a paint. So honestly, I can't recommend. Again, I'll figure out a way to use this up, or it'll probably dry out. But not a big fan. It only has that much white pigment in it, so I could see going through that quite quickly. Maybe for cons, but there's better options out there. I'm just not a fan.